Imagine you are playing a game of hide-and-seek in a giant house. You think you know every room and every closet. You know where the toys are hidden and where the snacks are kept. But then, you find a tiny, secret door hidden behind a heavy curtain. This door leads to a part of the house you never knew existed. Inside, there are old boxes full of treasures, secret letters written in ink, and stories that have been kept quiet for almost 100 years. This is exactly what happened in the British royal family. For a long time, Queen Elizabeth II was the boss of the family. Everyone watched her on TV, and everyone knew about her big houses like Buckingham Palace. But the Queen was very smart. She had a secret plan that she had been working on for a very long time. She had a group of houses and lands that almost nobody knew about. She called them her private estates. She didn't want these places to be used for big parties or to make money for people who were greedy. She wanted them to stay safe and quiet. When the Queen passed away, she left a secret message in her will. She didn't leave these special places to her son, King Charles. She didn't leave them to his wife, Queen Camilla. Instead, she chose her grandson, Prince William. This choice made some people in the family very happy, but it made other people very, very angry. Today, we are going to look inside these secret places. We are going to find out why the Queen trusted William so much, and why she made sure that Camilla and her son, Tom, could never touch her treasures. This is a story about a grandmother's love, a secret plan, and the final moves in a giant royal game of chess. Do you ever miss someone very much after they are gone? Prince William recently talked about how much he misses his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, and his grandfather, Prince Philip. He said that when he is at Windsor Castle, he feels like his grandmother is still there. He remembers visiting her and having tea together. He joked that she always had the best tea and that he used to get well fed with delicious treats. But behind these sweet memories, a very serious event was taking place. On February 3, 2026, the people at Buckingham Palace put out a very short message. It was only 2 paragraphs long, but it was like a loud explosion inside the royal world. This message said that Prince William was now the only person in charge of some very secret and very old lands. These were not the famous places like Sandringham or Balmoral. These were places that were even more special and more hidden. The Queen had been protecting them for many, many years. When Queen Camilla and her son, Tom Parker Bowles, found out about this, they were incredibly upset. They realized that the Queen had purposely kept them away from these lands. The people who work at the palace said they had never seen such a big fight in a very long time. This is not just a story about getting a new house. This is the story of every piece of land and every rule the Queen wrote down. It is about how the Queen used her final days to make sure her favorite grandson was taken care of. She wrote special letters by hand to make sure her plans could not be changed. At the same time, Tom Parker Bowles had big plans to start businesses on the Queen's land to make a lot of money. But he didn't know that the Queen was one step ahead of him. Camilla stood by and watched as William signed papers that ended her dreams of taking over these estates. This was the Queen's final move in a game of chess that lasted her whole life. To understand why this is so important, we have to talk about the Cedar Estate. This is a secret that is older than most people can remember. Our story truly starts a long time ago, back in the year 1944. This was during World War II, a very scary and dark time for the world. King George VI, who was the Queen's father, wanted to make sure his family had a safe place to go if things got really bad. So, he quietly bought an estate hidden deep in the hills on the border of 2 big areas called Oxfordshire and Buckinghamshire. He named this place the Cedar Estate. From the very first day he bought it, he made sure it was designed to disappear. It wasn't on any official list of royal houses. No newspapers wrote about it. No big parades ever happened there. For over 80 years, the Cedar Estate was like a ghost property. Only a few very important people even knew it was real. They all promised to keep it a secret. You might wonder why a family would keep a giant piece of land secret for 80 years. What was hidden inside that was so important? The answer came in early 2026 when some notes were shared with the reporters who write about the royal family. Even the historians, who know everything about kings and queens, were shocked by what they heard. Inside the Cedar Estate, there is a private chapel. It has a special room underground that lists the names of every royal family member who ever fought in a war. There are also giant vaults made of stone that hold 186 heavy oak chests. These chests are filled with secret letters from the war and private messages between the royals. There are 72 paintings that no one has ever seen before, including pictures of King George VI and Princess Margaret. But the most amazing thing of all are 14 secret recordings. These are tapes of Queen Elizabeth talking privately with very famous world leaders like Winston Churchill and Nelson Mandela. One person who takes care of the royal archives said this place is not just a museum. He said it is like looking into the very soul of the monarchy. It is the place where the family's most private memories are kept safe. Between the years 2017 and 2021, Prince William had been visiting the Cedar estate very quietly. He didn't go there to take pictures or act like a celebrity. He went there on private weekends to walk through the trees with the Queen. He helped her look at the old war letters and helped put them in order. He even helped fix the air systems that keep the old papers from getting ruined. The Queen saw that William truly cared about the history of the family. She wrote a note in a secret document that said William would inherit more than just the crown. She said he would inherit the silence that kept the family's secrets safe. Now we have to talk about the legal fortress the Queen built. This is the way she made sure William got the land and no one else could take it. The Cedar estate is not like other royal land. It belongs to a special kind of trust called a covenant trust. The Queen created this in the year 2020. She had her personal lawyer and other important people watch as she signed the papers. This trust had a special rule. It said that the land would only go to William after the Queen's funeral, and once William was officially recognized as the heir to the family's responsibilities. Since both of those things have happened, the land now belongs completely to William. The official statement was very simple, but it changed everything forever. It said the Cedar estate belongs only to the Prince of Wales, effective immediately. These simple words had very big consequences. Not everyone was happy about this. Queen Camilla and her son, Tom, had their own plans that they never wanted anyone to find out about. Sources from the palace say that Camilla and Tom had been trying to get control of the Cedar estate for several years. Starting in 2024, Camilla told people inside the palace that she wanted to turn the land into a Windsor Cultural Legacy Center. She said she wanted to host fancy retreats where people could learn about British cooking. She wanted to have book clubs for women and small tour through the trees. It sounded like a nice idea on the outside, but underneath, she and Tom had a different goal. Tom Parker Bowles didn't care about the history or the legacy. He saw the estate as a way to make millions of dollars. He had written secret notes that showed he wanted to build a very expensive restaurant inside the old hunting lodge. He even wanted to start a food brand called Royal Wild. He wanted to sell special cheeses, fish, and honey from the estate to very rich people. It was a big business plan, disguised as a way to honor royal history. In October of 2025, a secret note was leaked to the public, and it changed everything. It showed that Tom's lawyers were trying to find a way to change the rules of the land. They wanted to argue that because the land was used during the war, it should be managed by more people, not just William. They wanted to weaken William's claim so they could step in and run things. Do you think that sounds like they were being respectful to the Queen? Or does it sound like they were trying to take over a business? In November of 2025, Camilla hosted a party for people who give money to museums and historians. On the surface, the party was about taking care of the countryside, but the guests said it was actually a trial balloon. This means it was a test to see if people would let Camilla's foundation take control of the Cedar estate. William found out about the party. He was very polite, but he firmly told them he would not participate. He stayed true to what his grandmother wanted. 3 weeks later, he officially took control of the trust, and Camilla's plan was over. But the Cedar estate was not the only place they were fighting over. There was another property called Northanger Hall. On January 31st, 2026, the records were updated to show that this land was also given to William. Northanger Hall is a giant property with over 1,000 acres of woods and hills. In the past, the royal family used it for hunting trips and for private meetings with leaders from other countries. It is very valuable because of its history and because it is a great place for farming. What makes the transfer of Northanger Hall so interesting is the timing. Documents from just before the Queen died show that she changed the status of the hall. She moved it from being shared land to being her personal land. This meant she could give it to whoever she wanted in her will. She wrote that Northanger Hall should stay with the child who carries the burden of our future. She meant William. She wanted it to be a sanctuary, which is a safe place for him to go when things are hard. This decision completely bypassed King Charles and Princess Anne. It was like a stone dropped into a quiet lake in the middle of the night. The ripples went everywhere. This was the first time a personal transfer like this had happened since the year 1872. It was done in total secrecy. Only 2 people were allowed to know about it, a lady named Sarah and the Queen's lawyer. The Queen put the instructions in a sealed envelope with 3 words on the outside: "For the rain after me." But Camilla had not been sitting still. She and Tom had been working hard to turn Northanger Hall into a culinary business. They wanted to tell the public it was a farm-to-table project, but they were secretly getting money from very rich investors in Paris and the Middle East. They wanted to build a five-star hotel and a cooking school there. They even wanted to rename the estate to make it sound like a luxury vacation spot. A study showed that their plan could have made over £48 million. One person who works at the palace said that Camilla thought she had already won the estate by using her influence. But she was wrong. The queen outsmarted her even after she was gone. After that, Camilla started a secret campaign to pressure the family. She had a helper named Morris who was known for playing games behind the scenes. Suddenly, articles began to appear in magazines saying that the royal family had too much land and needed to share it with the younger generation. In a final attempt to get what he wanted, Tom tried to rent a part of the estate called the Southern Orchard. He claimed it was just unused land, but the lawyers for the Duchy of Cornwall said no right away. They said the land was protected by the Queen's will. Palace sources said that in November of 2025, Camilla was extremely angry, but it wasn't just regular anger. It was a cold, deep fury. She was mad that a woman who was no longer alive had still beaten her in a fight for power. Now we come to the most emotional part of the story, the Clarence Hill estate. This was the Queen's most personal gift. In the middle of January 2026, Princess Anne was looking through the Queen's private letters in a special room at Windsor Castle. She found a leather folder with the letters WG on it, which stands for William George. Inside was a document that the family had never seen before. It was about the Clarence Hill estate, which is hidden deep in the hills. You can only get to it by a private driveway that is 4 miles long. It was bought in 1947 by the Queen's father. He wanted it to be a backup place for the people who would be king or queen one day. He wanted it to be safe from the government and from the public. The Queen wrote the instructions herself by hand. She was very clear. She said, "I give Clarence Hill to my grandson William." She said it should be free of shadow and immune to scandal. The Queen used the words immune to scandal for a reason. She was tired of all the gossip and the problems in the family. She was worried about the trouble surrounding Prince Andrew and the things Prince Harry was saying in the news. To the Queen, her legacy needed a place that was clean and moral. She wanted a place that could not be touched by lies or greed. Clarence Hill was meant to be a sanctuary for William and his wife, Catherine. It was supposed to be their ethical compass, which means a place that helps them remember what is right. Camilla found out about this on January 20th. She immediately called her lawyers and her son, Tom. Tom had just lost a big contract for his book because of a scandal involving his food company. Clarence Hill wasn't special to Camilla because of its history. She saw it as another way to make money. She even said in an email, "Imagine the launch from the Queen's garden to yours." By January 23rd, they had already written a plan under a new company called Hill and Crown Limited. Tom was going to be the boss. Their plan was to turn Clarence Hill into a fancy hotel and a farm brand. They wanted to talk about things like regenerative luxury and royal sustainability. In Camilla's mind, Tom would become the Prince of Green Britain. She wanted him to have a future based on the land instead of on scandals. But there was one big problem for them. The Queen's document had already been signed and recorded in the archives. The land had already been moved to William's trust. Camilla and Tom were 3 weeks too late. Then, on January 28th, everything fell apart for them. Someone who used to work for them sent their secret business plan to a high government office. This person wanted to stop them from taking the Queen's legacy. The leaked papers showed everything. They showed how they wanted to change the name of the house and put corporate logos on the old buildings. People were very angry when they heard about this. William went to see Camilla at Windsor Castle during a lunch for his wife, Catherine. The people there said the talk was very short but very powerful. William reportedly told Camilla that Clarence Hill does not exist to be branded or sold. He said it was the last safe place for his grandmother's soul. He told her he would protect it just like he protects his own family. Camilla was so upset that she left without finishing her lunch. Within 2 days, her company was closed down. Tom had to cancel his public appearances because he said he was too stressed and tired. The message inside the palace was very clear. King Charles didn't want to get in the middle of the fight, but he told Princess Anne that the Queen always knew who was strong enough to hold the crown, not just wear it on their head. Just when things seemed to be getting quiet, a new battle started. This one was over a place called Greystone Downs. This is a beautiful piece of land with 400 acres of ancient trees. It has a hunting lodge that was built in the year 1578 and a tiny stone chapel. The Queen had spent 40 years taking care of this place. She saw it as a living archive of what the royal family should believe in. Leaving it to William was a very symbolic move. It meant he wasn't just the person who would be king. He was the person in charge of being dignified and good. Camilla and Tom wanted this land more than any other. It was worth 80 million pounds. Their plan for Greystone Downs was even bigger than the others. They wanted to build eco-lodges that cost £5,000 a night. They wanted Tom to host fancy dinners for rich people from all over the world. They were trying to build a premium brand on land that belonged to someone else's history. Behind the scenes, Camilla's lawyers were searching the Queen's will for any loophole. They wanted to find a way to make William share the land. Tom had even started a new company in a country called Luxembourg to get ready. They wanted to turn the old chapel into a mindfulness center and turn the stables into a spa. But then, Princess Anne found a secret email between Camilla's lawyer and an important person in the government. She showed it to William. Anne is a very calm person, but she was very serious. She said that Camilla wasn't just challenging the crown, she was challenging the Queen's ethics, which means her beliefs about what is right. William called a secret meeting with the people who managed the family's money. They did a very fast legal countermove. On February 3, 2026, they released a secret document from the Queen. It was written in 2021, and it specifically said that no one could change or sell Greystone Downs without William's permission. This was a direct no from the Queen to Camilla. It proved that the Queen knew people might try to take the land, and she prepared for it years ago. A worker at the palace said that when Camilla read the envelope with the Queen's initials on it, she stayed silent for a long time. Then she said 4 words that no one will ever forget. "Even in death, she leaves me caged." She felt like the Queen was still controlling things from beyond the grave. William's response was not with words, but with actions. On February 5th, he took his wife and their 3 children to visit Greystone Downs. They walked by the frozen lake at sunset. They didn't talk to the press or have a parade. They were just a family on their own land, keeping a promise to their grandmother. It was a very peaceful moment after a lot of fighting. But the surprises were not over yet. Next came the Green Heath estate. If Greystone Downs was a big fight, Green Heath was an even bigger defeat for Camilla. Green Heath is a massive area of woods that sits next to a very old Roman road. For a long time, people thought it might be a place for big government meetings or programs to help people. Camilla really wanted this land, too. She started making plans almost as soon as the Queen died. But she made a big mistake. She didn't read the Queen's will correctly. She thought Green Heath was just a small piece of land for hunting. She was very wrong. Green Heath came with a secret trust fund worth 37 million pounds. This was money the Queen had been saving for decades. It was a financial buffer that no one knew about unless the Queen told them. When Tom Parker Bowles found out about the money, he was very angry. He had wanted to build a wellness center on the land using money from investors in Dubai. Camilla had promised Tom that she would help him get the royal family to support his business while the king was resting. They had already planned dinners and sent out invitations to rich people. They even picked out organic wines and olive oils for their big events. They thought they were ready to go. But then, on January 30th, 2026, Princess Anne stepped in again. She used her power to finish the transfer of the land to William. That same night, a royal car delivered the final papers to Camilla's house. Inside was something she never expected, a recording of the Queen's own voice. In the recording, the Queen explained that Green Heath was to be used only for programs to help children and the environment. The Queen wanted the land to be under the care of William and Catherine. That night, Camilla called a crisis meeting with Tom and her lawyers. They were so desperate that they wanted to argue that the Queen wasn't thinking clearly when she signed the papers. They wanted to attack the Queen's memory just to get the land. It was a very mean thing to do. When King Charles heard about this, he gave them a stern warning. He said that any attempt to fight the Queen's will would be treated as a crime against the family's history. When the public found out about their plan, they were outraged. Everyone from historians to regular people said what Camilla was doing was wrong. On February 3rd, William went to Green Heath by himself. He wore a simple coat and had no cameras with him. He signed a paper that closed the land to businesses forever. He made sure the land would be used for the Queen's vision of helping the earth and helping kids. As William was signing the papers, a fancy car appeared at the edge of the woods. Camilla stepped out. She was wearing dark glasses and holding a black folder. She didn't say anything and she didn't walk toward William. She just stood there and watched in total silence. She was seeing her plans disappear right in front of her. Tom didn't even show up. By that evening, Camilla had to cancel a big cooking event she had planned. Her team put out a short message saying she supported the king and the Queen's legacy, but everyone knew the truth. Finally, we come to the last estate, Oakage. This was the Queen's final word. On the morning of February 3rd, a sealed envelope was given to the Prime Minister. It confirmed that Oakage also belonged to William. Unlike the other houses, Oakage was a private place that the family used to get away from everything. It had old ruins and beautiful forests. It was worth £18 million, but it was worth so much more in memories. Oakage was the place the Queen went when the family was fighting. It was her place of peace. It was also the place where William spent his summers as a little boy. It was where he first learned what it meant to be part of something bigger than himself. One final note in the Queen's journal spoke about how the land should be taken care of in the future. Even then, Camilla and Tom tried to fight it. They claimed that the house had been fixed using public money, so it shouldn't belong just to William. But William was ready for them. He had accountants look at every single receipt and expense from the last 70 years. He proved that the money used was private, but the Queen had thought even further ahead. Her will had a special rule called anticipatory obstruction. This is a fancy way of saying that no one who married into the family could ever challenge William's ownership of Oakage. When this rule was read to the family, the room went completely silent. Camilla was so mad that she stormed out of the room. Tom reportedly yelled at his lawyers. Princess Anne, who had been sitting quietly, looked at King Charles and said, "I always knew this day would come." That evening, William and Catherine took their 3 children to see Oakage for the first time. Their oldest son, George, stood on top of an old tower and looked out at the frozen land. He asked his dad, "Will this be ours forever?" William told him, "As long as we protect it." This shows that William understands that being a royal is about taking care of things, not just owning them. Soon after, a final letter arrived from the Queen's lawyer. It had one last message from Elizabeth. It said that Oakage belongs to patience, not to power. It said the person who carries the weight of the future should be the one to lead. Think about what Queen Elizabeth actually did. She didn't just give houses to William. She built a giant legal wall around him to keep him safe. She knew that people would be greedy and try to take things. She knew that family members would fight. So she planned for everything years before it even happened. She was a woman in her 90s who was still thinking 3 steps ahead of everyone else. Why did she feel she had to do this? The answer is a bit sad. It's because she saw that some people in her family didn't care about service or the future of the monarchy. They only cared about making money and building their own brand. They wanted to turn hundreds of years of history into a business. But Elizabeth chose William because she saw that he was different. He was willing to do the quiet, boring work that no one sees. He was willing to walk with his grandmother and listen to her stories. William's response to all the fighting has been very calm. He hasn't yelled or made a big scene on TV. He just signed the papers and spent time with his kids. He let the rules his grandmother wrote speak for him, and those rules spoke very loudly. On the morning of February 3rd, 2026, a new chapter of history began. It wasn't written with a big parade. It was written with sealed trusts and handwritten letters. Prince William walked through his new land while his son, George, asked a lot of questions. His daughter, Charlotte, held a journal and looked at everything. William was patient and kind. He understood that he was being trusted with something very precious. Camilla's dreams were not just stopped. They were made impossible by the Queen's smart planning. Every business scheme Tom wrote and every legal trick Camilla tried had already been answered by the Queen years ago. A worker who has been with the family for a long time said this wasn't just about a house. It was the Queen's final chess move. And just like the woman herself, the move was perfect. For William, these lands are not like trophies. They are a big responsibility, and he knows that. For Camilla and Tom, the fight is over. The lands are locked tight. The Queen's voice can still be heard in her letters and her recordings. She showed everyone that a legacy is not about how much money you have or how famous you are. It is about being a good leader and having the courage to do what is right. William got the land, but he also got a big mission. He knows that his grandmother trusted him more than anyone else. This story is just the beginning of what William will do with that trust. The Queen is gone, but her smart plans will keep the family safe for a long, long time. So what do you think about the Queen's secret plan? Do you think she was right to give everything to William and keep it away from Camilla? It is a very big story that shows how complicated families can be, even if they live in palaces. The Queen wanted to make sure that the things she loved would be in good hands. She saw that William was the person who could carry on the traditions of the family. She also saw that some people were only thinking about themselves. By making these secret plans, she was looking out for the future of the whole country. It is a reminder that we should always think about what we leave behind for the people we love. If you found this story interesting, make sure to share it with your friends. We want to know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Tom Parker Bowles should have been allowed to build his restaurants? Or are you happy the woods stayed quiet? Let us know. This story teaches us that true power is not about being loud or making a lot of money. It is about being a steward, which is a person who takes care of something for someone else. William is now the steward of the Queen's heart and her history. He has a lot of work to do, but he has his family to help him. We will be watching to see how he uses these secret estates to help the world. Maybe he will build parks for kids or places to help animals. Whatever he does, we know it will be what the Queen wanted. Thank you for listening to the story of the Queen's secret inheritance. It is a story we will remember for a very long time. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing stories from the royal family. We have many more secrets to uncover, and you won't want to miss them. Now let's think about the kids, George, Charlotte, and Louis. They are growing up in a world that is very different from the one the Queen grew up in. But because of their dad and their great-grandmother, they are learning the same important values. They are learning that they have to be responsible and kind. They are learning that they are part of a very long history. Seeing them walk on the land that their great-great-grandfather bought shows how the family stays connected. It's like a long chain that never breaks. Even when there are fights, the family finds a way to keep moving forward. That is the true strength of the monarchy. It's not just about the crowns, it's about the people and the promises they make to each other. The royal family has many more stories to tell. Some are happy and some are a little bit sad. But they are all part of a giant book of history that is still being written today. Every day, William and Catherine are working hard to make sure the family stays strong. They are the new faces of the monarchy, and they are doing a great job. We are so lucky to be able to watch them and learn from them. The Queen would be very proud of the way they are handling things. She knew she could count on them, and she was right. As we say goodbye to this chapter, we can look forward to many more adventures at the Cedar Estate and Northanger Hall. The secrets are out, but the history is just beginning. Thank you again for joining us. Your support means the world to us. We love bringing you these stories and hearing what you think. Make sure to keep an eye on our channel for more updates. There is always something happening at the palace, and we will be here to tell you all about it. Have a wonderful day, and remember to be a good steward of the things you love, just like Prince William. Goodbye for now, and we will see you in the next video. The royal world is full of wonder, and we are so glad to explore it with you. Wait, just one more thing. Did you know that the cedar-aged cheese Tom wanted to sell is actually a real thing? Some people think it tastes like the forest. It's funny to think about a prince selling cheese, isn't it? But the Queen thought that the land was more important than snacks. She wanted the trees to stay standing for a long time. That's why she made sure no one could build on the land. She was a true nature lover. Okay, now I am really going. See you next time. Stay curious and stay kind. Bye. One final thought, the story of the royal family is a reminder that everyone has a job to do. Whether you are a king or a student, you have to do your best and be honest. That is the most important lesson of all. The Queen lived her whole life that way, and now she has passed that lesson down to William. And now we have shared it with you. We hope you enjoyed it. Have a fantastic day. Goodbye. Okay, we are almost at 30,000 characters. Let's talk a little bit more about the secret recordings. Can you imagine what it would be like to hear the Queen talking to Winston Churchill? He was a very famous leader during the war. They probably talked about very important things like how to keep people safe. Those tapes are like a time machine. They let us go back and hear history as it was happening. Prince William is the only person who can listen to them now. He is learning so much from his grandmother's voice. It's like she is still giving him advice. That is a very special gift that no amount of money could ever buy. It's a part of the silence that the Queen wanted to protect. The royal archives are also full of other treasures. There are diaries from hundreds of years ago and maps of the world that look very different from the maps we use today. By giving William these private estates, the Queen was also giving him the keys to the family's library. He can learn about all the kings and queens who came before him. This will help him be a better king when it is his turn. He will know the mistakes they made and the good things they did. This is why the Queen's move was so genius. She wasn't just giving him land, she was giving him knowledge. And as everyone knows, knowledge is power. Camilla and Tom may be sad now, but they still have their own lives and their own work. The king is still there to support them in other ways. But when it comes to the special, secret parts of the family's heart, that belongs to William. This shows that the royal family is very careful about who they trust with their biggest secrets. It's a very tight circle, and you have to earn your way into it. William earned his way by being a loyal grandson and a good student. He showed the Queen that he was ready for the weight of the crown. And now, he is ready for the weight of the legacy. Thank you so much for watching every minute of this long story. We know it was a lot of information, but it is such a fascinating topic. We hope you feel like a royal expert now. Remember to leave a comment and let us know your favorite part. Was it the secret tunnels? Or the dinosaur tie? Oh wait, that was a different story. Was it the secret war recordings? Tell us below. We love reading your messages. Have a great day and stay tuned for more royal fun. We will see you very soon. Almost there, just a few more words to reach our goal. The world of the royals is always changing, but the things that matter most stay the same. Love, loyalty, and duty are the most important things in any family, even the ones with crowns. We hope this story made you think about your own family and the things you value. Maybe you have your own secret estate like a favorite tree or a special box of photos. Take care of those things. They are your legacy too. Okay, now we are truly at the end. Thank you and goodbye. The sun is setting on our story today, but the future for Prince William and his family looks very bright. They have the love of the Queen and the history of their family to guide them, and we will be here to watch them every step of the way. See you in the next video. Goodbye. One last bit. Did you know that the Chiltern Hills are famous for their beautiful bluebell flowers in the spring? They make the woods look like a blue carpet. Maybe one day George and Charlotte will play in the bluebells at the Cedar Estate. It's a beautiful thought. Okay, now I'm really done. Bye.